Hey there, what's going on? I'm Coach Brian KLEPACKI, one of the many coaches here at Critical Bench. I'm a strength coach, functional movement specialist, and I care about your health. I truly do. I want you to be as healthy as possible. So if you're a runner, welcome to our channel. If you're brand new to running, have never, you've never ran before, but you're looking to get into the sport of running, great. I can't recommend running enough. It's a great sport. It's so good for the body and also the mind as well. However, there's a lot that could go wrong in the sport of running. So if you're brand new to this, pay close attention. Now I'm going to talk to all those veteran runners out there. You're probably hurt. You're probably injured. You probably have all these aches and pains. But I'm going to share with you 3 thigh exercises, 3 thigh movements that you must be doing to get 2 things accomplished: to avoid pain or eliminate pain if you have it, and to get stronger. Stronger legs equals a better, more efficient runner. You with me? I know you are, so let's get right to it. Tight quads. Most people, if not all people, suffer from tight quads. Even the most skilled runners have tight quads, so we need to eliminate the tightness. With that, we're also going to be focusing on the hip flexors. As you can see, I'm in a seated position right now. Guess what? My hip flexors are shortened. If you've been following us at Critical Bench for some time now, we talk a lot about the hip flexors. We talk a lot about the inner thighs, the glutes. All these have such an important part, an important role to play, not just for running, but just general health. So we need to stretch out what's tight. So the first thing that we're going to go to is, I call it a 90-90 bench stretch. Okay, so what we're going to do is we got a bench. I've got a pad underneath because we're going to be kneeling on the ground. So in this position here, we're going to have the front foot is going to be on the ground with that knee bent. The back leg, the knee is on the ground, and the back foot is on the bench. So what I'm doing now keep in mind my legs are conditioned. They're a little bit more loose than average. So this position right here might be excruciating for you, and that's okay. This is something we're going to have to work through. The lower you get to the ground, like here, I mean, honestly, this could even be uncomfortable for you. If it is, this is where you're going to start. And then slowly bring your butt back to your heel. Now, if you're saying, hey, Coach Brian, this is nothing to me, now we're going to get back into our normal starting stance. So right here, if you need to keep both hands on the ground because this is tough, stay here and hold it. Over time, and it might not be in this session, but it might be over the course of a few days, few weeks, you're eventually going to get into this position here, where this is where we need to be, okay? So what I'm looking for in this position is everything forward. Shoulders are forward, chin is tucked into the neck here. My hips are forward, my feet are parallel and forward. Obviously this one's pointing back, but you get the idea. If you can see, my right knee is directly underneath my hip. I'll shift sides here in just a second. But what I'm trying to do is open up my thighs, open up not just my quads, that's the front part of your leg, but hip flexors, that's this muscle here, your psoas, and also a little bit more of the glutes too, because when I start leaning forward, which is I encourage, yes, you are going to feel it in the back kneecap, that's your quad stretching, but I'm also starting to feel it right in this area, your glutes, your hamstrings, and also your inner thighs. We're going to address the adductors here in just a second. We're going right here, okay? Leaning forward, and now if you're saying, hey, I really want to take it to the next level, my right knee is down, my right arm is going to go up, reaching towards the sky, elongating that right side of the body. Yes, I feel this big time, all the way from my lat, that's under my armpit, all the way down to my kneecap. No pain, but it's definitely, I feel it working. So to get out of this stretch, kind of walk yourself backwards, here, drop down, switch foot, get this foot here, slowly pop yourself up, adjust. Remember, going through, everything is facing forward and parallel. Both feet are pointed straight ahead. Left knee is down under the hip. Now for me, I've always known this, my left side is always just a tiny bit more tight or bound up than my right side. It's going to be a common occurrence. You probably already know, oh, my left side is so much weaker or tighter. I don't want to say that's okay, but that's common, all right? Doing these unilateral stretches or unilateral movements will help offset that imbalance. But again, it's one of those things that it's kind of just going to be like a common occurrence, all right? Because we have a dominant side, we also have a weak side. Got it? So with that said, we're going to hold this anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. If you want to go a little bit longer, I would stop at a minute. But if you're going to hold it up to a minute, then as things unwind, then that's when we start increasing the intensity, reaching that arm up, driving those hips forward, all right? Quads, inner thighs, glutes, hip flexors, great stretch to do, great exercise to do, especially for all those runners out there. And again, it's one of those stretches too that even if you're not a runner, this is something that could be recommended to non-runners alike, all right? So let's get a little bit more room, but we're gonna stay kind of low and centered. So we're gonna go into a deep squat pry. Now this really targets the adductors. Your adductors are, I call them the most neglected muscle group of the body. They're right between, you know, they're on the insides of your legs. It's commonly referred to as your groin or inner thighs, all right? These muscles help stabilize the knees, help stabilize the glutes when you're doing something like running. So what I'm doing, I'm in a deep squat position right here. This is one of the many exercises that we have in our inner thigh solution program. I highly encourage you to check it out. At the end of this video, I know you're gonna stick around, so I'm gonna share more information about that program, so stay tuned for that. But this is one of those things that we just have to, we have to do it. There's no negotiation. We have to treat this neglected part of the body. And all I'm doing here is I'm in a deep squat and I'm prying with my elbows. I'm pushing my knees out, opening up those adductors. Now you're probably saying, wow, this is way too intense. So all you need to do, it could be on a bench, hold on to something right here, okay? This is gonna give me a little bit more stability, a little bit more, you know, less pressure, if that makes any type of sense. You can hold onto a pole, onto a chair. Now let's say you can't get into this deep squat, but maybe you're right here, okay? What you can do is kind of push these open here. The end goal is to get down as low as you can, driving those knees open. Now I'm not rounding my back, I'm keeping my back as flat as I can and holding this. Now if you want to go side to side a little bit, that's fine. And this is going to be really good if you have tight calves, and most runners do. Just kind of prying, opening up side to side, right there, all right? That's a good one for those adductors. So let's get to the floor, and this one, you're gonna need to get some kind of either med ball, or you can get like a pretty dense pillow, because we're gonna be doing some isometric squeezes with our knees. Doesn't have to be a med ball, but if you have a med ball, great, a pillow works. A bunch of towels or blankets will work just as fine as well. Or even basketball, soccer ball, things like that. You get the idea. So this one, we're doing kind of two things. We're gonna be throwing in a little bit of a glute exercise. We're also gonna be throwing in a little bit of a isometric adductor exercise. So I love this exercise, especially for all those runners out there, because we're strengthening the weak muscles, which is gonna be your adductors, and we're also strengthening your primary running muscles, your glutes. Okay, so we're gonna head back into a back position here. We're gonna put the ball or whatever device between your knees. And what we're doing, before we get started, I want you to get into a flat back or a anterior pelvic tilt. So we're tilting our pelvis, our hips back, pushing our belly button down to the ground. From here, we're squeezing inward. If you squeeze hard enough, you're gonna feel your adductors start shaking. And you're gonna drive your hips up towards the ceiling as high as you can. You're gonna feel those glutes fire, and you're gonna squeeze that ball as hard as you can. I want you to take your elbows and drive them into the ground. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the ball, holding this for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute, no more than that. Squeeze as hard as you can. Now, I want you to lift your hips up a little higher, because over time, your hips are just gonna slowly drop, and then you have to readjust. So always be aware that you need to readjust or get those hips up. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. I'm starting to shake a little bit, that's okay. Keep that tailbone tucked, and then release when you have to. 15, 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever. Repeat this a couple times. 3 to 5 reps is adequate. So you're probably thinking, how do I structure these 3 exercises into my routine? Well, it's a good question. There's a few ways you can do that. You can do this before you run, you can do it after you run, or you can do it on days where you don't run. So if you're going to be doing a little home workout or following along with our inner thigh solution program, you can tack these onto there. Now within that inner thigh solution program, there are some other additional exercises that are similar to this that still get the same kind of effect, but these three are specific for runners. So what I do want you to do is check out our inner thigh solution program. I can't stress enough, it's a great program for runners, but most importantly, it's great for anybody who needs to strengthen and also stretch out the most neglected muscle group of the body. So if you want more information about that program, we have a couple ways you can do that. You can check out this DVD right here. We're going to pin a comment underneath this video. You'll see the link under there. Inner thigh solution. It's a great program. We go through a bunch of different stuff, some at home, some stuff at the gym. And I'm telling you, this is going to help transform you as a runner. It's going to help you get out of pain and into some great strength gains. So check it out again. That's all I have to say about that, other than check it out. While you're down there clicking that link, hit that subscribe button. If you have a comment or question for me, please, I'd love to see what you have to say or hear what you have to ask. So please drop us a comment, question, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I'm Coach Brian with Critical Bench. We'll see you next time.